not gotten your copy of the book, we're going to remind you on how you can be able to do it. If you're not on the Amazon side of our program, and we're now live on Amazon Live with Flying Over 50 at Any Age. I'm Cyrus Webb, joined by my lovely co-host, Makeda Smith, the author of the best-selling book that you guys can see here. If you have not gotten your copy of the book on Amazon, you can see it in the carousel either here on the side or down below. I also want to remind you guys to make sure you guys are giving us a follow. As I announced this week, I'm going to be one of the Amazon Live presenters for Prime Day this year, July 8th through the 11th. So make sure you guys are following us for a lot of great deals. Makeda, welcome back.
Hi, happy Juneteenth.
That's right. That's right. Happy Juneteenth to you as well. Makeda, another great message for us. And as I said, I appreciate you working with us last week. We had some tech issues on the platform that we use, and I was glad we were able to have last week's message number 20. We're now in message number 21, Makeda. So y'all, I want y'all to settle something for me. I've been saying, I said to Makeda, hasn't it been going by fast? And Makeda, what did you say?
I said it's been going by week.
Makeda just won't let me be great, y'all. It is, but see, to me, the weeks have gone by fast. So I guess that's why it seems like it for me. So Makeda, I think to set up for this week, for those who may have missed us last week, and if you guys did, you can catch all of the replays on whatever platform you're joining us on. You were still dealing with your dark season, right? Last week when we met you.
Yeah.
And you talked about this amazing experience of meeting this woman of all places, while you were doing a walk, a woman named Makeda. What was it like for you last week, and kind of reflecting on what became a turning point for you with that encounter?
It was just nice to recollect Magda, and I don't know if she's still on the planet or not. I've lost touch with her because she lived in England, and I think she would be like 89 or 90 now, but it was just nice to reflect on her and that magical memory, which reminds me of like a scene in a movie, because it actually took place in Hollywood, and it felt like lights, camera, action. Okay, let's go. And it was like she just popped up next to me magically, and she had the aura and essence of an angel, and she really impacted my life. And she's the reason I'm here. She's one of the reasons I'm here today. Yeah.
Now, I'm so glad you phrased that the way you did, because it leads me to a question I wanted to ask you that you didn't even know about, Makeda. Because this is true, whether you want to accept it or not, what I'm about to say. So when you think about the question, here was this woman who you did not know that had such a profound impact on you. We're going to see more of that this week. What has it been like for you now in your life to realize by your example, by your presence, the impact you're having on others?
Well, you said, what is it like? I don't know. I guess I just feel very, very, very blessed. And part of being blessed is sharing that blessing and passing on that blessing to others. And how I feel like with Magda, I was in a very dark space, and Magda had an inner light. And she shared her inner light with me, and her inner light ignited my light. And so it's a blessing to be able to know that my light is igniting lights in other people.
Yeah.
Just like yours, Cyrus.
Well, I appreciate that. But I thought about that with this message, Makeda, because we've been talking about the theme of movement. And last week was a great example of that. This week is a very literal example of that, right? And that's why I thought was so interesting. Makeda and I were talking about before we went live here, how reading the book is one thing, but to have this extra deep dive with you in it really helps to really enrich the messages that a lot of people, quite honestly, don't know. I mean, have you thought about that? Because I've seen people, even days after we've done the show, Makeda, especially on Instagram, they're liking and commenting. What has it been like for you to have people who know you as a celebrity publicist, know you in that space, to now be able to get to know you in a more personal way this way?
Well, I think this may not directly answer your question, but I really want to talk about um, the message of movement,
Yeah.
because movement is really medicine and movement is really magical,
Hmm.
and it's weighing on me even more now that movement is like the secret elixir
Mm.
for life. It's the secret elixir for aging. It's the secret elixir. Like movement is just everything. Moving physically, moving spiritually, moving emotionally, moving past different things. But
Hmm.
it was like in that moment when I asked Magda what was her secret, she said her secret was yoga.
Hmm.
And it's not so much that the secret is yoga. Yoga is a tool, yes, but what she was really sharing with me was the secret was to keep moving,
Yeah.
because yoga is movement. And in terms of her being 75 at that time and her essence being so vivacious, is because she didn't let herself become stagnant on any levels. She always kept moving. So
Yeah.
moving and movement is really just such a powerful message, but it feels so understated, you
Hmm.
know? And it's
Yeah.
like, um, hey, somebody just said, hey, Bear.
Hey, hey, it's Kenya.
And it's like even as we age and everybody says, make sure you're moving, make sure you're walking, make sure you're
Hmm.
stretching. And it just sounds like, oh, whatever. But if but if you start moving and stretching and walking, that act is going to inspire you to do other things. It's going to open up your brain. It's going to reset your nervous system. It's going to make you feel better. That action triggers so many different things. And so I don't know, it's like Magda really gifted me with that message. That message literally changed the trajectory of my life.
Hmm.
And even in her giving me the message in that moment, I didn't realize how powerful that message was, but I knew it was an important message and I knew I had to act on that message.
And you still are. I think that's the other big lesson here too, Makita, that we have to keep it moving, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because there are a lot of people who were moving it with you and with myself at certain levels, and you look back and they're nowhere to be found, right? I
yeah,
think the fact that
yeah.
you're able to keep moving is such an important thing. So, Kenya, so glad you could join us over there on Facebook. Miriam, hello to you. Miriam says movement equals
Yes.
progress, momentum, great key. Hello to you, Sandra, over there on IG as well. So, I think this is a great time, Makita, for
Oh,
us to go ahead
okay.
and get into today's message.
All right. Today you're gonna put it up on the screen in case
Yeah,
my computer
of
crashes.
course, of course. Yes, yes, I got you.
Okay. Okay. Today is day 21 and it's designer wear with wear spelled WHERE. Every day is a new design every day is a new design that we get to wear. The magical encounter with Magda changed the directional course of my sad life. She showed me that I still had so much life ahead of me and so much living to do. I just had to do it. I had to take the wheel and navigate the road. Magda told me yoga was her secret weapon. I found a nearby yoga studio and took a class, but at the time, yoga was not for me. I wasn't ready. It felt difficult on my body. Today, I practice yoga almost daily and enjoy it immensely, but at that time, it didn't click for me. One day on my computer, I came across a social media coupon deal for pole dance classes. To this day, I don't know what prompted me to sign up. The last thing I felt was sexy, and if yoga had worn me out, what made me think I could do a pole dance class? There honestly was no logic to my reasoning except that the 3 class deal being offered was so inexpensive, I took the bait. It took me another 3 months or so to go take the class. as I waited until the coupon was about to expire. But on that fateful day when I journeyed across town to enter the unfamiliar territory of a dance studio, my life was forever changed. The class was engaging and encouraging, and the dance and music literally lifted me to another dimension, far away from my current life. For that hour and 15 minutes, my brain took a break from its serial loop of depressing thoughts, and I was immersed in another world. Needless to say, I was hooked on this new exercise regimen and my redesign had begun. And guess what? True to what Magda had told me, yoga was how we warmed up for class. Yoga movement became my gateway to rejuvenation. Think about how you are designing your life. It begins with how you are designing your thoughts and planning your days. What picture are you creating? What color is the sky and how high do you plan to fly?
Yeah. Great message. So talk to us about this photo. I think it's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah,
You know, talk,
that's a picture of me in a yoga pose.
yeah. Yeah. So three things come to mind. I know you say I always have
Okay.
my three. My friends tell me I always have three things. I didn't realize that until they brought it up. But I love the fact that something that you said, and so I can leave the picture up. I'll read it from
Okay.
my copy of the book. There, and two of the things are connected. But you said this, and I love the wording that you used. You say when it came to yourself, you found the nearby yoga studio, but then you said I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And then you went on to talk about later on about taking the bait. I want to talk about timing because I
Okay.
think timing really is everything. Like you said, you found this coupon, yet you waited before you took the bait, and actually was going to this to be able to use it. Talk to us about what that's been like for you to think about in your life, Makeda, how to realize what you're ready for and when you're ready to take action.
Yeah. I think sometimes we don't know what we're ready for,
Hmm.
and it's like to this day, I literally don't know why. I don't know if it was a living social, or whether it was a Groupon. I literally don't know why I bought it.
Mm.
And after I bought it, I was so mad because after I bought it and I thought about it, I was like, oh, why did I do that? Because that could have been lunch.
Right.
Because back during that time, I was like broke down and I was
Mhm.
like, what made me buy that? I must have lost my mind. I just spent lunch money. So it was like, I don't know. I guess it was my intuition, my angels, just being in the flow and being prompted. But
Mhm.
even after I bought the the Groupon, I was still in resistance because I didn't get up and go, and
Yeah.
I literally waited until it was about to expire, and and really, my motivation was I had spent this money on this Groupon and I couldn't afford to waste any money. So I better push myself out of my coffin comfort zone
Mhm.
and go across town and just do this. And it was like, I remember it was really one of the hardest things to do because it was like, what have I gotten myself into?
Mm.
And during that time, I was in a very dark, depressed state. I wasn't like feeling all vibrant and like, let's go take this class. It was like
Yeah.
everything I did was drudgery. So even doing that was like it felt like drudgery until I got there. And when
Yeah.
I got there, again, it was like a movie. It turned into magic.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that brings me to the next point I want to make. And that was the second point, because the way you, again, that your wording on these is so interesting. So we talked about you saying I wasn't ready, but then you say there honestly was no logic to my reasoning except that the 3-class deal being offered was so inexpensive. I took the bait. I want to talk about that part as my second point,
Okay.
because a lot of times people will look at us. I've been there, so I can say it for myself.
Mhm.
Will say, "What makes them think they can do that?" Or what makes them think that they can be able to handle this? Or we may even say that to ourselves, right? As you said about, well, if I can't take yoga, what makes me think I can take this
Exactly. It wasn't
program?
even logical.
Yeah, what is it that helped you to work against the logic, Makeda? Because I think that's a great lesson for our audience. Because a lot of things that are good for us are not necessarily logical.
Yeah,
So
I was
what
going to
helped you?
say, but it's
Yeah.
really not about being logical. And
Mhm.
sometimes I think sometimes we overthink something. I'm trying to read what's on the screen.
Oh, yeah, she says unlocking the optimal time for the decision to move forward. Yes, nothing is ever wasted, even if
Yes.
delayed. When in the right alignment, the release to go and engage forward happens. Yeah.
And that's the word I'm looking for. Some things aren't logical, but they are in alignment. Thank you. Thank you,
Hmm.
Miriam. Alignment is everything.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I think a lot of times we overthink things
Hmm.
instead of just like moving and going with the flow.
Right.
And sometimes the flow will force you to move. It was like I was forced to go take that class because I wasn't going to let that money go to waste.
Right. Right.
So I was just like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? And now I got to do this.
Hmm.
And it turned out to be like the biggest blessing of my life.
Yeah.
Like I still remember like going into that studio and literally while I was in the studio, unlike being in the yoga studio where I felt like, oh my God, this is killing me, like the workout. Being in that studio, it was literally magical. It
Yeah.
felt like a temple. I was in a temple. It felt very healing. All the women there were so nice. And my brain, I remember this clear as day because my brain ran into a loop. My
Hmm.
brain ran into, I done lost my house, I done lost my man, I done lost my dog.
Hmm.
Like my brain was in this loop of loss, depression. Why do I have to wake up every day? Why am I still here? My brain was in that loop. When
Yeah.
I went into that dance studio, that loop literally shut down. And I was centered into a very now moment of being in this dance studio, in this space that felt like a temple, um, moving with these other women, following the teacher. My brain was so entrained that I literally didn't think
Hmm.
about anything else. And when the class stopped, I was like, oh my God, I have got to do this again because
Wow.
this is the only thing that has brought my brain out of its loop of depressing thought.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and that leads to my third point, that
Uh-huh.
we don't have to do this alone.
Yeah.
Because there you were trying to deal with all of this by yourself, but then to be in a community,
Yes.
knowing with the other people in that class were also how they had to face their own fears or anxiety or
Yes.
spending money on the coupon. You know what I'm saying? you know, and that's what I thought about was like, wow, because we never know who we're going to connect with, like you connected with Magda, right?
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
you take that step, you don't know where it can lead you to. What do you
Yes.
want our audience to know about that? About, for one, the shared experiences we're able to have, Makeda, but also knowing no matter what we're going through in life, that we're not by ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I always talk about angels, which might sound crazy to some people, but I do believe we are never by ourselves. We have entities, sacred spirits, energy, God forces around us. I really believe Magda was an angel to me who moved me forward. And I don't know what angels were around me that made me press the button on the computer to buy that damn Groupon. But obviously there were angelic forces involved because it was not my right mind. And I think the thing is, you know, is no matter what, whether it's when I say to keep it moving, I mean moving on so many levels. Yes,
Right.
exercise movement, but also just movement in terms of moving forward and taking the next step.
Right.
A lot of times when we get in depressed states, and I know this from personal experience, we just want to lay down and shut everything down.
Hmm.
And when that happens, I think even a tangible way to bring movement into that state is, if it's possible, to give yourself even a timeline of, I'm going to let myself feel bad for 24 hours, or I'm going to let myself feel bad until this deadline. And then when this, like, maybe for the next 3 hours, I'm just going to lay here and not do anything. But when the third hour comes, I'm going to get up. And even if I just move to the kitchen, I'm going to move to the kitchen. So
Right.
if you can just even take baby steps and keep it moving, that movement is going to move you forward. And everything is about moving forward.
Yeah. Such
Yeah.
a great thing and such a great reminder. Again, everyone, it's day number 21 in Makeda's book, Designer Wear. Tell us about the title, the Wear, WHERE.
Because when you think about designer wear is in clothing, so it's like a play on words, because
Mm-hmm.
designer wear, and it was like, where is anything designer in my life, because I'm literally penniless.
Got you. Got you. Yeah. Yeah. I thought about that too. I thought about when I saw the title and then with the message of, we never know where that joy is going to be. For you, it was in
Yes,
a pole dancing class, you know.
yes.
You never know where that where is going to be. I think that's the thing. Great message. Again, if you guys have not gotten your copy of the book, if you're joining us on Amazon, you can get the print edition or the Kindle edition there on Amazon. For those joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube, you'll find the link for Amazon to come on over. Another great segment with you, Makeda. How can our audience stay connected with you?
They can find me at Flying Over 50 and at the Makeda Method. I'm on all social media, and that's also my website.
Love it. Makeda, great message. Looking forward to week number 22 next week.
22, counting down.
And we thank you all for tuning in to another
Thank
great
you,
segment of,
everybody.
yeah, the Flying Over 50 at Any Age. Until next time, you all make it a great
Mhm.
one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Happy Juneteenth. Blessings.